The blind boy story. There's almost no trainer, no motivational speaker, nor a coach who has not heard or not shared this story at some point of time. The story goes that a gentleman was walking down the road when he saw a blind boy sitting near the steps with a plate or a bowl in front of him, seeking alms, with a placard right next to him. The placard said, "I am blind, please help me." And there were a few coins in the bowl in front of the blind boy. Now this gentleman stopped by and he puts a few coins over there and he picks up the placard, turns it around, scribbles something else, puts that down such that the new words are actually shown to everybody, and then he walks away. Now, suddenly the boy realizes that a lot more people are dropping coins on the plate or the bowl in front of him, and he gets surprised. That later in the evening that day, when this gentleman walks back wanting to see what was the impact of what we did, the blind boy hears his footsteps and recognizes them, and he asks him, "Aren't you the person that wrote something right on the placard?" And he says, "Yes." Now the boy says, "I need to be honest, and integrity matters for me, so I need to know what you wrote. I don't want to know that you did not write something that simply made people want to give me money." And then the gentleman says, "I wrote the same thing you did, but a little differently." The new words were, "Today is a beautiful day and I cannot see it. I am blind. Please help me." The same words, but a little differently. What was the difference between the first and the second that made people want to give money more in the second instance? It was that the second instance made people feel for the blind boy. It made them relate and connect with the blind boy that yes, he cannot see, that there is an impact or there is a result of his blindness that is different from what is happening with them. A lot of us look at this concept as empathy, that if we can make the other people relate to our situation, if we can make them understand what we are going through and how we are feeling, then the other side would actually be able to support us. It works also in different scenarios when we need to understand what the other person is going through and how they are feeling. So empathy is a lot of times spoken as putting yourself in the other person's shoes, a lot of times spoken as understanding the other person's feelings. But empathy is not always about understanding the other person's feeling. Sometimes in a conflicting situation or in decision making, empathy is also about seeing the other person's thinking or the other person's perspective. This reminds me of the 4 blind men and the elephant story, where each blind man wanted to understand how an elephant looked like. And so one person goes up and touches the body of the elephant and says the elephant's like a wall. And one person goes and touches the leg of the elephant and says the elephant's like a cylinder. And one person touches the tail and says that the elephant's like a rope. Now, and the 4th one goes down to the trunk of the elephant and says, "No, it's long and tapering and in a very different shape than what you all are saying." Now, this has got nothing to do about feelings, but there are 4 individuals looking at the same entity, the elephant, from 4 different angles and 4 different perspectives. Each one seeing part of the truth, but not the entire truth, that is the elephant. And the only way they can get a picture of the entire elephant is if all the 4 go, stand and understand the perspective of the one saying the wall. All the 4 go and stand, understand the perspective of the one saying the leg. And all the 4 go to the one that says long and tapering near the trunk. Only when they see all the 4 perspectives from their position and their angle, then they get the entire big picture and are able to make a more evaluated judgment call about how an elephant looks. The number of times that you need to make a decision where you can surely see why you are right and the other person, your team member, can see why they are right. This is the time for you to look at what we call not feeling empathy, but cognitive or thinking empathy, where you go and think from the other person's perspective and see the rationale and the logic. And by acknowledging and understanding the feelings of the other person and also the thinking and the rationale, that is when we can create a bigger picture and make more accurate decisions and also resolve our conflicts effectively. In fact, Brené Brown talks a lot about cognitive empathy or different types and stages of empathy that one can go through. But what I would love for you to remember is empathy is not always about touchy-feely and feeling. Empathy is also about seeing things from the other person's perspective, and it's a very powerful tool that helps you in making the right decision and taking you off the wrong path if you decided not to look at that perspective. This is Revati Turuga from the Leadership Unlocked channel. Like, share, subscribe, and come back to watch more.